Welcome to a blustery Isle of Skye, and what a location this is. It's absolutely stunning. In many ways, it's a dream landscape photographer's location. It really, really is. But strangely, the main reason that I'm here is not for the photography. I came here to get married, and I achieved that a few days ago, and wow, what a day it was. It was absolutely incredible. I really couldn't have picked a better place to come and do this. The location was absolutely stunning, and I think it was a day to really, really savour and remember. But now I'm actually on my honeymoon, so I'm trying to keep photography to a minimum, really, because I don't want to have to get a divorce this soon into the marriage. So I'm picking my times very carefully to come out to take shots. So at the moment it's about 5:45 in the morning, and I've come to a location called the Waternish Peninsula, which sits at the top of the Isle of Skye, and it's a very remote and quiet location that's not particularly known for its landscape photography locations and spots. But I don't mind that too much, because over the last few days I've visited a number of the big hitting classic locations, and I've taken absolutely no shots whatsoever. And the main reason for that is ultimately I just want to experience them with my other half, and I don't want to have to take rush shots there. And I think I'm going to be coming back to this island, and I'll come back for a dedicated photography trip, and I'll do those locations more justice and put some real planning and effort into them. So this morning I've come to a location called Trumpan, which sits out on the peninsula, and I came here for an absolutely stunning coastal walk yesterday. But on that walk, what really caught my eye was this amazing peninsula that sits behind me here, and I think there's a really nice composition here. There's a lot of layers running back through the shot. You've got, don't know whether I'm pointing to the right bit of the image, but I'll explain it. You've got this nice little pond that sits in the foreground here, and then behind that you've got the smooth curve of the bay that runs round with the sea in it. And then you've got what looks like a ruined building that sits right bang centre in the middle of the peninsula itself. And then behind that you've got the sea that comes in around the peninsula, and then in the background you've got these stunningly high cliffs that must be easily over 100 metres high. Really, really quite stunning. And today you've also got some nice interesting clouds drifting through the background as well. So there's an awful lot of interest in this shot. So I have got on my long lens, and I am shooting at about 135mm at f10 50th of a second ISO 64. I've also put on the two-stop soft ND graduate filter to take down the sky a little bit, and I've popped on the circular polarizer just to pop the contrast a little bit in the image. Found another composition which has caught my eye actually. So just out in this bay behind me you've got these beautiful craggy islands that just sit there, and they've got a really interesting shape, and they're catching the light as it shines in from this side. And I think actually with a long lens fully in at 200mm like I've got on at the moment, I think there's a really nice shot here, particularly if I crop this panoramically, because there's a lot of empty kind of sea that sits in the foreground. So I think there's a nice shot here with the lighting we've got at the moment. So in terms of settings for this shot, I am at f6.3, 200th of a second, ISO 80. And the reason that I've got a faster shutter speed here is I'm getting a little bit of wobble in the tripod with the wind that's coming in at the moment. So I'm trying my best to get the picture as pin sharp as possible. So I need to get that shutter speed that little bit faster to do that. You know what, I'm actually pretty happy with those two shots. I think they've turned out relatively well, and I think the most important thing is they're shots that I've never actually seen here before, which is no mean feat in a location that's photographed to death like the Isle of Skye. So yeah, I'm pretty chuffed with those two. I really, really like this location out here. It's really, really beautiful, and I've got it pretty much all to myself, frankly. So now I am going to continue a bit further down this way on the peninsula and see if I can find any other photographic locations that catch my eye. I've now come a little further down the peninsula and the weather's really starting to set in and change. If you've ever been to Skye, you'll know exactly what I mean when I say the weather can be an asset and a liability. But I've discovered this really nice little bridge called Fairy Bridge, and this is not a location that I've seen many shots of before. So I get the impression that it's either a bit of a hidden area or it's totally overlooked by landscape photographers, and I think that's a real shame because there's actually quite a bit to work with here. So the actual bridge forms a lovely arch which provides like a gateway view to the other side, and you can actually see the mountains and the forests all the way through there, and I think that looks quite nice. And then you've got this beautiful river leading down which acts as kind of a leading line through the shot. So I've set up my composition just here, looking down along the river, and I've placed these boulders just here in the foreground, and they actually work quite well. You've got some that have got a lovely coating of moss on, and one in particular out this side has actually got some buttercups that have just grown out the top of it, and I think that's quite quirky and unusual. So I've placed those in my foreground and I've used the river to run down through the shot, and I'm quite optimistic that this will turn out quite well. So at the moment it's obviously very overcast, and I think the shot works pretty well in these conditions, but what I really want is a little bit of light just to lift the scene, and I think we may just get that. So if you look up here, we've got a little bit of blue sky, and that looks like it's going to unveil the sun in the next minute or two. So I think the window to get the perfect shot is fast approaching. Unsurprisingly, the light hasn't arrived, so that's a little bit annoying, but I don't think it actually matters all that much. Having looked at the images I've taken so far on the LCD, I think they actually look totally fine with the lighting that I've got. The nice even overcast sky works quite well for a scene like this, I think, so I'm not too worried. In terms of settings, I am shooting at f8 at 1.3 seconds ISO 200 for this, at about 40 mils. Now I'm using an array of filters here. I've got the circular polarizer on to take a little bit of the shine off the water surface. I'm also using my soft edge ND graduated filter just to darken the top of the scene, the sky. And I'm also using my little stopper which allows me to get that longer shutter speed to capture a little bit of movement in the water surface. So I think they'll all come together to deliver the image here. But I think I'm probably also going to have to focus stack this, because my initial shot is focusing down on these boulders down here, but f8 I don't think I'm going to get the depth of field I need to get this image sharp. So I'm also going to take two other images. I'm going to take one probably halfway down the river and one final image of the actual bridge, focusing on that. And in post-processing I will compile them all together and get pin sharpness throughout the image. I'm really quite chuffed how that shot's turned out actually. I think that is going to be the standout shot from today, I think. But I think what made all the difference is right towards the end of my shoot here, just above the bridge, you've got this dark line of cloud that kind of rolled in, and I think it added some much needed interest into that part of the image that was lacking. And I think that will make all the difference to this shot. So yeah, overall I'm very pleased, and I'm really quite shocked that this bridge and this location does not get more attention from landscape photographers. I think a lot of people come to the Isle of Skye and they get fixated on certain locations, certain iconic locations, and they totally overlook some places like this, and I think that's a real shame. So I've really enjoyed coming out today and spending some time at some of these locations, and hopefully I've done them some degree of justice. I'm sorry that I don't have the usual level of B-roll and production value in this video. I just haven't had the time to dedicate to it. I'm on a really tight schedule here, and really photography just has to be a very secondary thing, and I can't really dedicate the time I need to it. But I will be coming back to Skye, and I will be doing a lot more in the future. So I hope you've enjoyed this little trip. I certainly have. It's been really enjoyable. I'll try and see if I can fit in any more photography trips during my time here. It would be a shame if I don't, but yeah,
I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you do, please like or comment below. Let me know your thoughts. If you've got any other hidden locations on Skye that you feel don't get the attention they deserve, let me know. I'll be really interested to hear your thoughts. And until next time, take care.